Hi everyone, Steve from the Audiophiles. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining me today. You saw the title. I was intrigued by it when I saw the release of Electronic Recording Company's next pressing, the Doors self-titled. I want to talk about that today. Was the true mono tapes used for that pressing? We'll get into that, and if you haven't already, click that button, subscribe to my channel. I promise lots of great stuff over the next little while. When I get to 2,000 subscribers, we're giving away prizes. So please join me, and we'll see you on the other side of the Audiophiles. The Electronic Recording Company last week, or 2 weeks ago now, announced their next pressing. Some of you guys might have heard or might have gotten an email or had seen it on the different forums. The Doors, self-titled, their debut album from 1967 in true mono. Now, what makes the ERC, or the Electronic Recording Company, interesting is that they're a very small boutique firm out of Britain, founded by Pete Hutchinson, and they really specialize in high-quality audiophile pressings, classical, jazz, etc. They use a vintage all-valve mastering equipment using only the original tapes. Just getting that off of Discogs. To date, they have released 67 different titles, and in very limited amounts as well. So for instance, the Love Forever Changes album that came out, I believe there was 150 mono pressings, which were fold downs, which means they took the master tape and mastered it into mono, and they also released 150 pressings of the stereo version of that album as well. So, interesting way of doing things. Very limited supply, which means it's very difficult in the aftermarket to pick them up for a reasonable price, and of course very difficult to get them if you want one as a consumer when they were first released because of limited amounts, which really sucks for someone like myself, because I can't afford to go out and buy this latest Doors album for $300 or $700 or $800 or whatever it might be on the aftermarket. So I really wish they would press more of these and make it more obtainable for the common audiophile, not just 300 people out there that might be able to get it. So I put this video together today. The big reason why is that there was a little bit of controversy surrounding this announcement by ERC, and I saw a website. It's called psychedelicsite.com, and the title of their article was "True Monologue: Reissue of the Doors due via ERC." And so when ERC announced the Doors, they actually showed a picture of the master tape, and I think this is where there was a lot of speculation. And I'll put the picture of the master tape up on screen. You'll see it there, and on the label of the master tape, you'll see it says mono, and it says LEDO. Now, what does that mean? So what happened was psychedelicsite.com picked up on this. And they also picked up on Steve Hoffman's forum, because where Steve Hoffman is saying on his forum that the source tape appeared to be a LEDO, which means a leadered, equalized, duplicate original. And in his words, it's called a leveled cutting dub. And he also went on to say that this is not even the original mix by sound engineer Bruce Botnick. So are these the true mono tapes being used to press this album? And is Bruce Botnick even part of this as well? Which is very interesting, because I'm going to get into a couple things as well. I mean, the Analogue Productions, they cut all of the Doors albums years ago with Doug Sax, and Bruce Botnick was actually supervising that as well, and I'll get into that as well. Did Bruce Botnick supervise ERC's version? Now, these LEDOs, or the LEDOs, they're basically already, they're cutting dubs, they're cutting duplicates, so they've been used in the past. So I don't know if ERC is using this tape and then mastering it and then cutting it to vinyl, or they're just using this ELDO, or leadered equalized duplicate, and then cutting it right to vinyl. who's mastering it. I'd like to know that. I'd just like to get some more information. I mean, you know, we're limited to what, 300 on, probably 300 on this pressing. I'm just finding it hard to find more information on, you know, who is in charge of the mastering. Again, is Bruce Botnick part of this? I mean, that's the big thing as well. All the past reissues of the Doors, Bruce Botnick, who was there since the beginning, has supervised all of these pressings. So I'm just curious to know if ERC has used Bruce Botnick when they went and pressed this Doors album. So it'll be interesting to see what it sounds like, what ERC announces. I went back on ERC's website and I don't even see the announcement now, so that's been taken off, so I'm not quite sure why. But again, as a consumer, I just want to know more. You know, you're spending probably $500 or even more to get if you can get a copy of this album. I want to know more. I mean, what gives with the tape? Why does it say LEDO? Why is Steve Hoffman going on his forum and saying it's, you know, just, you know, it's not the original master, it's not, you know, it's not the original mix by Bruce Botnick. So I just need to know, ERC, please announce it. Love to hear from you guys. And yeah, and then that being said, I mean, last year, if you're looking for the Doors self-titled, I have two ideas. I think the two best mono sounding Doors self-titled and the best sounding stereo self-titled. I'll get right to it. First one, get it right here. Here it is here. This is Vinyl Me Please's June of last year release. Beautiful. It's remastered by Bernie Grundman, of course, in this green marble. Did a great job, supervised by Bruce Botnick. It was taken from the masters, digitalized to get rid of all the hiss and the snap and the crackle and the pops and the wow and the flutter. Done beautifully. And I learned too from the interview that Bruce Botnick did with Vinyl Me Please that on the songs Light My Fire and The End, the original mono versions of those two songs were actually slower than the singles that were released for radio play back in the day. So what Bruce Botnick has done with, of course, Bernie using, you know, the tube machines to remaster, they actually, those two songs on this pressing are now back to the normal speed they were when they were first released as singles. So I found that quite interesting as well. So I think for the price, Vinyl Me Please's mono version of the Doors, incredible, sounds amazing. I mean, it just has that AM feel to it, that 60s feel to it. I mean, it's in mono. You got to listen to it in one speaker, not two speakers. Listen to it in one speaker because everything's coming out at the same. I think they really cleaned it up. They made a much better sounding mono mix here. And for the price, this probably is the best sounding mono. I do have the 2009 Rhino reissue, mono and in stereo. The mono issue that Grundman did in 2009, a little bit muddy, I feel, in places. And I mean, the vinyl was a little bit rough and a little bit noisy in areas as well. But the Vinyl Me Please, incredible value. It also comes to, if I can find it here somewhere here, it actually comes with a pretty interesting little 45 little cut as well. Light My Fire, Take It As It Comes, and the Crystal Ship. So that's included as well. And you can get these on Discogs for, you know, quite cheap. It comes with the Obi strip and it has a nice little poster and a booklet inside, you know, talking about the album. Again, this was supervised by Bruce Botnick and it was mastered or remastered by Bernie Grundman. And then we have, of course, if you don't know it already, this, I mean, I think if you're looking for the best stereo version of the Doors self-titled, this was mastered by Doug Sachs, supervised by Bruce Botnick, Tube Magic as well, using tube machines to remaster it. It sounds incredible. It's you know, bright. It's stereo. It's definitely a different sound and different feel than the Vinyl Me Please mono version. So it's definitely different. So you'd have to, for yourself, compare it. You can't. I don't really want to compare a mono with stereo. They're two different animals, of course. But I mean, if you want the preeminent Doors self-titled, Analogue Productions, this is the one here. Cut at 45 RPM, incredible. This is the best stereo sounding copy out there. No argument there. Now, they used the best available source to master and cut this album. It wasn't from the actual original tapes. Now, that is directly from Analogue Productions' website, so I'm not just making that up. So the best original source was used for the self-titled album, but all the rest of the albums that Analogue Productions redid or remastered with Doug Sachs and Bruce Botnick were from the original master tapes. So there you go. Guys, hope this helps. If you're looking for the best Doors albums, like I said, Vinyl Me Please is Mono Edition, mastered by Bernie Grundman. We've got Analogue Productions stereo version, mastered by Doug Sachs, and of course Bruce Botnick was part of them as well. An electronic recording company. I'm curious to see this mono reissue, this LEDO tape. I mean, what's this all about? I'm curious to see if we see more forums about it. So until next time, guys, put some vinyl on, turn up the music, turn it up really loud, and we'll see you again on the audio files.